Something is moving along this river, leaving tracks in the mud. At a small river in the north of the Netherlands, there's hidden wildlife. But what does this bridge, this piece of dirt, and this little black suitcase have to do with the hidden wildlife of the Netherlands? Let's find out. So if you're living in the Netherlands just like me, or you're visiting, you will probably use a car or a bike to get around. You will cross a lot of small channels and streams, and you would stop, you would look to the left and right, and you would think there's probably some fish in it. But wildlife around these waters in the Netherlands? I don't think so. But what if I would tell you that these small streams and these small patches of forest are full of wildlife, but it's hidden? So let's start at the place where it all started for me, finding wildlife in the Netherlands. It started for me under this bridge. Let's have a look. So I'm guessing you find it very weird that finding Dutch wildlife starts under a little bridge at this river. But this is the place where it all started for me actually. A couple of years ago I did an introduction to wildlife tracking by the Institute for Nature here in the Netherlands. And the guide that gave us that course brought us to this little bridge immediately. This is a hot spot for all kinds of animal tracks. You can find paw prints over here, droppings, signposts, gnawing marks, everything is here. The water now is very high, so that little piece of mud isn't here. But I took a couple of shots some weeks ago, and let's have a look at those. So that's great, of course, that you can find some paw prints over here and some other signs. But now the puzzle starts. Which kind of animal left those marks and those paw prints? So in order to be accurate in determining which kind of animals live here, I bought these two books, and let's have a look at these two books that I use to track down animals. So the first book that I bought is this one, Animal Tracks and Signs. It's written by Preben Bang and Preben Dahlstrom. It's really nice. I use this quite a lot because the animal tracks and paw prints illustrations are very good. So I really liked it. I started to use this book. But after doing that introduction course, the guide recommended this book by Annemarie van Diepenbeek. And this is called Veldgids Diersporen. It's like a field guide for animal tracks. And it's very good. It's very detailed, very nuanced. So much knowledge in this little book. So these are the two books that I use to try to determine animal tracks. So let's have a look at what we can find under this bridge. Next to those paw prints in the mud a couple of weeks ago. So now we're having a look around at this little underneath the bridge landscape, and then we find a little hill with some indentations around it and what seems to be feces on top of it. There are also two clear lines over here going to the water. What kind of animal makes this? So doing that introduction course to wildlife tracking and reading those books, I became very much aware about animal signs and tracks and the potential for it in the surroundings that I am. So it's very interesting to me because a couple of weeks ago I made those shots of those paw prints using those books, and what I think is that these paw prints are from an otter. But I'm very insecure about my animal tracks determination just yet. But I found those two dragging lines to that little scratch mount. An otter has a tail, of course. What I found in the books is that otters also make little scratch mounts and leave feces on it as like a signpost to mark their territory. So I'm guessing now that there are otters living over here at the Hunze, but I'm not sure. So this is very interesting to me, and I want to find out if I can find more signs and tracks of otters and other animals, of course, on the Hunze River. So I brought my canoe. Let's get into the canoe after this thunderstorm and then find some other tracks and signs. So there we go. On the Hunze to find some wildlife. So that's the little piece of bridge shelter that I was just before. Now we're gonna go under it and then pedal down the Hunze. Let's find some animal tracks. So I'm like pedaling only 2 minutes, and I had a look at the bank of the river, and there I saw this little piece of dirt, some scratching marks and a gnawed down tree. So this is the typical track of a beaver, of course. There's also one other animal we can find over here at the Hunze. So let's continue pedaling and find more animal tracks. So I hear you thinking, Casper, what are you doing at that little piece of dirt next to the river? But these little pieces of dirt are quite interesting to me because of animal tracking. They act as a little sand trap in which you can find the paw prints or hoof prints of animals that live here. So now they're all hoofs because of the horses. They let them roam here in the summer. But I took this picture a couple of weeks ago and it was full of animal tracks. Let's have a look at that picture. I found deer tracks, definitely. The track of a fox, I think. Definitely badger tracks. So it's a very cool animal. So all these animals have passed by this little piece of dirt next to the river. So very interesting to me. Let's get back into the canoe and find out if we can find more tracks. So look at this. This is like a little badger track. It looks like a mini bear track. So the badgers are out as well. Let's get into the canoe. No jumping. So what I found here is a very large piece of forest with all kinds of sand dug up, and there are all kinds of holes in the ground and beneath the trees, and I saw the paw prints of a badger again. So my guess is that these holes and all these marks and all the sand is dug up by a big group of badgers. I'm not sure, of course, but let's have another look, see if we can find some more tracks of badgers, because that's what I suspect. So this is why I think this is a badger burrow, because the holes are pretty big and they're oval shaped. And this is the typical work of badgers, apparently. Maybe they share it with foxes also, because I saw some other shaped holes. But I think that's unlikely, not sure. But let's have a little walk around and see if we can find more. No animal tracks up there. So there's another big thunderstorm coming in, I saw on the radar. So let's quickly set up a tarp and make like a little camp and get shelter from this rain. Woohoo! So I made a nice little shelter close to the water. I got my suitcase over here. Now first let's make some tea and have a little bit of a break, and then hike around this forest to see if we can find any animal tracks. Somebody was hungry, just like me. Both in Annemarie, her book, and Preben's book, I found this about beavers. A rather special type of track is the narrow channel which beavers dig from lakes through the low-lying marshy areas, through which they transport gnawed of twigs to their lodges and dams. I found such a looking channel pretty close to this rest stop. So let's first have a look over there, because maybe that's a sign to find a lodge or even a dam as well on this river. Let's go! So pretty close to my little camp I found this already. Typical beaver tracks. There's a beaver slide. That is how they get in and out of the water. And you have the gnawing on the tree, of course, on the tree trunk. You can really see the indentations of the teeth. They come out of the water, as I understand it, then turn their head and then start gnawing. They want to get the tree down so they can get to the twigs and the leaves at the top of the tree. They eat that, and other wood they use for construction, of course. So let's hike along. So yeah, this is exactly what I thought. It's a little channel. It's about 30 to 60 centimeters wide, as I read in the book. So this is probably a beaver channel, and this is probably a good time to show you what I got in my suitcase. Let's have a look. So this is what I brought along in my little black suitcase. Wildlife camera traps. They are really awesome. I got a whole bunch of them. They have sensors, motion sensors up here, also on the side. And they have a 4K camera, which is really awesome. And this is the infrared lighting for making pictures at night. So isn't that amazing? I got a whole bunch of them. I got like 8 of these cameras. We're gonna put them all up alongside the Hunze and find the animals of which we found all those tracks. So this is the beaver channel. I'm gonna put some up alongside this beaver channel, but we don't want to hinder the animals, of course. So we need to be a bit careful about the placements. But let's find some placement positions and put up these cameras. Woohoo. So now let's get back to camp and do a hike around camp and around that badger burrow. And we're gonna place some other cameras as well. I got a whole bunch of them. It's awesome. So I keep finding these dents in the floor, in the ground. They're stretched clean, and apparently these are the sleeping places of deer. So I find them a lot over here, and so I'm guessing the deer sleep in this piece of forest quite often. I'm gonna put up some cameras to catch those deer as well. So what I also keep finding in this forest are sticks like this. They're chewed off trees and they're halfway eaten through. And they lay around the forest as well. So also a beaver track. Chewing stick, not sure how they're called. So this also seems very insignificant. But if you look closely, you can see this piece is like scratched. And you see like heaps of leaves over here. And this is what a badger does. They sniff with their nose in the floor. They search for, I don't know, worms, nuts, squirrels. But they push the leaves to one side. So you find these tracks in the leaves on the floor as well over here, close to this burrow. So yeah, another badger track. So yeah, I have put up 8 of these camera traps, these wildlife cameras. It's amazing. I'm gonna bet you we're gonna catch a lot of animals on these cameras. I think we're gonna catch deer, beaver hopefully, otter hopefully, fox maybe, badgers and other types of animals. I'm gonna leave them up for 2 weeks, and I'm gonna wait out this another rainstorm, and then I have to pedal against the wind back to my car, and then we're gonna come back in 2 weeks. But first let's get home and then come back after 2 weeks. So the horses and the cows are pretty close to the water. Let's see how close we can get to them. Okay, so they scare very easy. Very young cows and horses, of course. Never seen a canoeist before, I guess. Let's leave them to it. So I got home, I took a little shower, and now let's make some dinner over my new campfire grill. Let our minds drift on which type of animals will appear for those cameras. I think it will be awesome. So join me for the next episode. See you guys next time. Good night.